welcome everybody to episode 97 of the podcast. We're almost to 100. We're getting closer and closer by the day.
Dude.
Of course, I'm here, Steve, and
Charles is here.
And then from our background wizard,
I'm telling you, man. He would be in charge of graphics.
Who's repping Detroit today. Bill, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
So far, so good. I might pass out from a meat coma from all the rib tips and ribs. And so if you guys eat barbecue, besides ribs, what's the meats of choice?
Hold on. I got to keep it clean.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. The meat of choice for me is burnt ends and brisket all day.
Bill?
Yeah, brisket and pulled pork.
Pulled pork, that's Holly's favorite. She likes the pulled pork.
I also like those sausages at a legit place. You can get those smoked sausages and stuff like that. Those things
like
are
hot links.
Yeah, those are good too. I like those a lot too.
You don't see those very often. Anyone like the barbecue chicken, or you kind of skip that at a barbecue joint? I do like some good chicken barbecued.
Like whole chicken or just chicken chunks? Or
at Famous Dave's, it's like looks like about a quarter of a chicken. It's like the wing, the leg, and the part. It's not bad.
I think at Famous Dave's, I think I'd get like the ribs and stuff from there is what would be my du jour from Famous Dave's. You got to order from there, BV? What do you get?
Yeah, I typically get ribs. Sometimes I get a combination with like ribs and brisket.
So the reason why we went to Famous Dave, or I didn't go, we got carry out, I should say.
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus. Today is my 17-year anniversary to my wife. You guys were both there 17. Does it feel like 17 years already? That's the
probably for you more than us. Feels like so much longer than 17 years.
Can we double it? No. God, it just flew by. It's pretty quick. I hate to say that. And I know.
Think about how much faster the second one's gonna go, Steve. You know what I mean?
Ask Dad on it.
Yeah.
So happy anniversary to my wife. I know she's listening somewhat. She's watching Mama June right now, so she might not be listening. Big Mama
June. Getting them weight
fan.
loss tips from Mama June.
Crack tips, really, is what they're getting. Because my birthday is on the 22nd of April, my birthday fell in line with the lockdown from COVID, explaining Bill's background. So the Secretary of State's closed down here in Michigan. So they sent me my tabs, but I never got my license. So for the past month, I've been driving around on an expired
you've been driving dirty, Steve.
Yeah, I checked to the website. Any expired license good till June 30th.
Oh, okay.
But apparently they're up and running because I got my license Friday in the mail. I got my brand new one. It's got that little star on there now. It's the enhanced license with the star.
So what did you have to mail to them for them to give you the enhanced one with the star or whatever?
A check.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not gonna get that. There's a difference in price or whatever. As long as you have your passport, you don't need the star, from what I'm gathering. And whenever I travel, I just take a passport.
Well, I don't have a passport.
Oh, so I thought you did. I'm sorry.
Michelle and Holly did when they went to Niagara Falls, but I never got one. So
okay.
Total, it's like $50 for my license. So I have a chauffeur. I have a chauffeur's enhanced license is what I have. Okay. I don't know why I keep renewing the chauffeurs. Yeah. I had it ever since the test before him. I just renewed the chauffeur.
BV looks so perplexed. What's wrong with you, BV?
Well, no, is the star something Michigan specific, or is it just a real ID?
So in order to travel domestically going forward, as you renew, you're going to need to start to have this. I forget, Steve's. I don't know the term of it. I don't know if one of you guys can clack away.
I think it's called Real ID.
Yeah, you have to have that to travel domestically now. So in order to fly to Texas or something, which is before you could just use a state ID or whatever and it didn't matter. Now you have to have that extra level of certification for TSA to recognize that ID. Or you could fly with a passport. I just thought Steve had one. That's why I was just curious why he would have went and got that.
And in Michigan, to get across the border, you either need a passport or your birth certificate. Yeah. But I have the enhanced license, so that'll get me across the border. So I can go get Canadian whores and not have to worry about it. Yeah, so
you're like pre-checked or whatever. Yeah, you're pre-whore checked.
I don't know if that works.
He's in the Canadian whore fast lane.
Yeah, dude.
I go right on through.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know I don't know if that works in Mexico though. I don't know if
I think it's the same thing. Any common border, I believe. I think you're right. I think it's both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I go to Canada or Mexico, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I just can't fly overseas. Not that I plan on doing any of that, but
yeah, I was going to say, where are you going right now? That's the problem. Hopefully one day.
And I think by October, everyone has to have that starter license if they want to fly or have a passport, one or the other. We would be more up to date with this if my dad still worked TSA, but unfortunately he is retired for the TSA.
And the biggest thing is that's flying domestically. So even if you were going to fly to Chicago, from here to Chicago, you would need it and stuff like that. Like federal agents or whatever, TSA federal people won't let you buy. It's kind of annoying, but whatever.
So now this week we do talk about COVID a lot, but I want to switch it up a little bit and go sports-wise because there's been a lot of sports news about these leagues trying to get up and going, and there's been some of this is rumor, some of this is something they're trying. So I want to go over some of this, get your guys' thoughts, and then of course Charles will give us our ever uplifting stats at the end.
They're actually getting uplifting, honestly, if you start looking week over week.
A little bit, yeah. So the first one, now the NFL is still going to go through with allegedly still going to go through with their season. I'd be surprised to see if they do preseason and all that.
What do you, before you go by that? What is everyone's opinion before you go into what they want to do? What do you guys think they're going to do? Like, what is everyone going? I don't think the season starts on time. I also think Steve has a stain on his Steve. Beanie, what do you think the NFL does to get a season going?
Hold on, before I do that, I have to make sure I'm properly sanitized. I think they're going to try everything they can to get the season started on time, but that's going to be rough because they're not even able to do mini camps right now. How they're going to do, they're fitting in a training camp and whatnot. I think they'll probably have a somewhat abbreviated season.
You think it's abbreviated, not shifted? I think I'm leaning towards more of a shift. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be delayed because you're leaving too much revenue on the table to take a chunk off the schedule. I think they're just going to push it later in the year. It's going to get crazy for those outdoor teams in the north and stuff like that, but I think that is the case. But I also think that they could bake into like working out deals where you could move a home game to somewhere a little bit more reasonable and stuff like that. I just don't foresee them, willing to accept that lack of or loss of revenue. Steve, what do you got? What do you think they're going to do?
I think they have a lot of money and a lot of pull, and I think they start in September.
Do you?
I don't think college will, but I think the NFL is going to be like, screw all of you. I don't think there'll be fans, but I think they start in September. Now, I think they might skip the preseason, just have the mini camps, and then go right into the regular season would be my guess. But because they've already, they're full steam ahead on their schedules, full steam ahead on everything.
They haven't skipped a beat, to your point. Yeah.
And the guy
digital
in Miami
draft, they just kept going. They're like, we'll do it on Zoom, and then we'll keep it moving. Yeah.
And the guy in Miami already said they're going to let fans in, so I don't.
Yeah.
I think they're full steam ahead, don't give a damn, and the government's going to be like, well, okay. Well,
Trump's back to football, so you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Am I coming in on which headset am I coming in on?
I don't know.
I think I'm coming on. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
I don't know, Gabe. You tell me what you got going on.
Yeah, I know. So that's but to go with that, Joe Buck has confirmed that the NFL is looking into putting Joe Buck because he's an essential source, but they're going to put fake crowd noises in for the viewers at home, and digital crowd is what they're going to try to do in the audience. And there's some articles on this being confirmed already.
Are you guys in kind of my camp of going like, what's the point? I'm kind of in that vein. Like, what is do they really think the product suffers so drastically from that? Is that what we're thinking?
I think they want to give you your full experience that you're used to.
Yeah.
So by putting in there'd probably be old crowd clips and stuff, I'm guessing.
That'd be weird, right?
It'd be really funny.
There's a guy in Zubaz shorts.
Yeah,
what's going on?
It's from 1987.
Who's that? The Plunkett jersey over in the corner.
Yeah. But they're not the only ones. They said that the NBA might be looking into that as well, putting in crowd noise. Now I think the NBA needs to do it because I don't want to hear those sneaker squeaks the whole time.
Now let me ask a question though.
Crowd's there.
Are they going to pipe the crowd noise into the stadium or just into the broadcast?
I think just the broadcast. They're not going to. at the stadiums. So that's the rumor. I don't want them to. I want to hear what people
It's
say.
going to be super awkward, dude. Yeah, I want to hear that.
Especially when they start cussing or dropping racial slurs at each other, and it's going to be run on TV. It's going to be crazy.
I'll tell you what, though, if WWE's any indication, you need a crowd.
Certain sports need a crowd, and football might be one of them. Now, the next one is college. College, it's all over the place. Some conferences want to do this, some conferences want to do that. NCAA is trying to say one thing, and they're all telling them to screw off. Yeah. So the latest is the Pac-12 wants to play in the spring, starting like March or something.
If there's someone that could do it, back to the point, to BV's point. I mean, they don't have to worry about the weather out that way,
Yeah. So that's what the Pac-12 was thinking about. So, and then even the ones that are going to play are just going to play conference games. They don't want to play outside their conference. So, like, I keep hearing USC and Alabama are supposed to play in week 1. It's not happening. It's already been canceled. They're not flying cross country to do that. So, but now my question is, what happens in Notre Dame? They don't have a conference.
You suffer because you don't have a conference is what it boils down to. I mean, quite frankly, if one university can handle the loss of revenue of a football team, it is Notre Dame. I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't in one arena say, hey, we're independent, kiss my ass, and then bellyache when it comes back to bite you in the ass. You got to take your...
exactly.
Bill,
any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. It's kind of hard unless they were able to pull strings and, insert themselves into the ACC schedule for a year, since they're connected with the ACC for everything else.
Yeah, that might be a chance. But the funny thing, in an interview, the Notre Dame AD, I didn't have his name down, said he doesn't even want to play games unless fans can come. That's what he said. That's how cocky he is right now. Wow. So Notre Dame, they're kind of off in their own little world. Like, you ever notice that? Like, certain people in the world.
That's what people hate them about too. They hate that. Yeah.
How celebrities are kind of out of touch, and then Notre Dame's out of touch too. I swear, Bill just totally disappeared. Oh, he's back.
I'm adjusting my. I've got a nice cooling seat pad to adjust. So.
But there's no definitive plan for college right now. So I feel NFL has a plan. They're going to do it. They got the money to do it. College don't know what they're doing. They're the 5 major conferences are all bickering back and forth. So none of them. The only thing I know a lot of them have agreed on is only conference games. A lot of them want to do that. So you'll get a Big Ten champion, SEC champion, stuff like that, and no bowl games. No cross country.
So much money, man. It's so much money. God, that's a lot of cabbage, man. I'm just telling you.
I don't know how Alabama's going to live without playing Citadel this year, but
But not even that. You can make the implication that Citadel makes a ton of money by getting beat up by Alabama every year. So then, you know what I mean? Like, there's that side of the coin. So for every Notre Dame that can take a year off, there's 60 other like C tier teams that you're like, I don't know, like what life looks like, And
I keep hearing on the radio that like small divisions like the MAC and West, Conference West, they're fine with it. All right, we're not just gonna have a season because it costs them too much money, so they're just gonna be like, forget it, we're not gonna do it at all. So,
well, how do you do it? Because like a lot of these colleges have canceled like on-campus classes for the fall and stuff like that too. So it's how do you justify having sports in one arena, but then telling everyone to stay home and do online classes in the other? It's the Notre Dame conundrum. You can't have your cake and eat it too, kind of thing.
So from what I understand, the biggest rumors are their season's going to get pushed to October for a lot of them, and then it's just going to be in conference, and then that's going to be it. So you're looking at about 9 games of college between October and December is what they keep saying, with no crowds for any of it.
So what do you guys, again, we've had this conversation, what do you think they do? What do you want them to do? What's your guys' opinion? Steve, you got an opinion?
I don't mind the conference games from October to December. It's fine. But from what I understand, Pac-12 doesn't want to do that because they're going to be on a lockdown longer than everybody else. So because of USC and all them, so they're going to do the spring thing. And it'd be interesting, it might not hurt Pac-12 to do it in the spring one year because all the attention they're going to get because it'll be the only thing around. But I think you're going to abbreviated college thing sometime in October. Bill, your thoughts?
Well, I guess what confuses me about the spring, and so I guess that means that there's not going to be any attempt to have a national championship or national championship game. I guess it doesn't matter all that much. The biggest problem with college isn't the money; it's the fact that the organization's not there. They're not aligned. each conference wants to call their own shots. The NCAA has been a sham of an organization for decades.
Right.
And when you have a situation where the NCAA can't just put them all together and force them to go in one direction, it's going to be chaos.
What do you guys think? Let me play naysayer here. Like, what if this leads to like fractures amongst college football? Like, what if 2 years from now the Pac-12 says, "Do we really need to keep doing this NC2A rules when we can kind of like fit our?" You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what the college sports landscape could look like if these schools kind of realize, hey, maybe we don't need Big Brother. We can kind of do our own things conference-wise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this isn't the first time college conferences have been in pissing matches, right? I mean, it's been this way for years. I wouldn't surprise me. But Pac-12, I think they're smart enough to realize they need other. I mean, they're going to get ratings regardless, but not like USC Alabama is going to bring in big money.
Sure.
Where USC and Washington, well, they'll do okay on the West Coast, but not across the country. My thoughts, anyways.
Crazy.
The way that works, I think, is at least the Power 5 conferences are going to have to go together. I mean, there's been talk of cutting out the NCAA for years now. But if you have each individual conference sort of, unilaterally doing their own thing, then you better have a strong enough conference and a strong enough following in that conference to be able to keep up the revenue that they're used to. Some conferences will be able to do it. The Pac-12, maybe. But what about conferences like
SEC
ACC?
might.
Well, they might too. So might the Big Ten. But what about the ACC or the Big 12? You might end up with or even in the Big Ten, you might end up with a couple schools that have total dominance over the entire conference. They make all the revenue, and then you have like what's Maryland and Rutgers going to do? I mean, you come into like an extreme have and have not situations within individual conferences.
Yeah, but a lot of them make money from those networks, like those smaller schools. They get guaranteed money from those networks. So if the Big Ten plays, they're going to get cash from that. I'm just.
It's hard to wrap your brain around like the economics of college football. I know what Steve's trying to say. Like it's entirely but to Steve's point, they've been pissy in the past. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a reach to say that like this could lead to really further. The world is going to change, I think, drastically in the next year or two. I mean, I think a lot of industries are going to get thrown on their head, and I don't think college sports are immune to that.
Yeah. I think they're going to be the hardest to come back is the college sports. Just because of the school, the academics, you got everything. There's a lot more variables there than with the pros. So that's going to lead us into the NBA. And now the NBA had some really cool ideas, but I think they've all been shot down. But one of them I really liked. They were going to just put the whole league in a giant March Madness tournament.
That'd be awesome. I mean, the problem would be is if people really love it, what do you do going forward?
I gotta be honest.
Like, oh shit, awesome. They loved it. You know what I mean? That'd be great.
The betting on all that.
Oh my god! Dude. Open them casinos. Just
single elimination they were talking about, or
I think it was a 3-game series of March Madness. Good luck.
Imagine the ratings on that shit, gentlemen. Oh my god, awesome. Dude, that would be. I'm with Steve on that one. Give me that one. Where do I petition for that? For sure.
Yeah. So, the players shot that down. They didn't want to do that.
Bummers.
So. They're looking to have basically pick up the playoffs, but they're trying to do it. They're another ones that are trying to do it in a neutral state, where like Arizona doesn't have a lot of cases, stuff like that. So that's what they're looking at right now. But like the baseball, which we'll talk about here in a minute, it's coming down to money and safety, and it's not matching up. So, but
how many players? Let me ask a question because my naivety to like the NBA. So I think of like the UFC model. If you can test everyone, how many people do you guys think thereabouts as an NBA team truly travel with? You know what I mean? Like, and at this point, half the NBA had coronavirus too. Don't they all have the antibodies?
Half of them should be healed by now. I don't know. Was it 12?
12-man rosters. You figure there's probably a few extras. They carry around. There's coaches.
But I'm sure they could test a few hundred people to have games and then just have them in lockdown arenas. I don't think that's crazy to say, right? To Steve's point, NBA
deal with Dana White or Fight Island and play games on Fight.
Dude, the tournament that Steve described on Fight Island, America's head would explode.
I would watch that. I'm telling you, the March Madness.
Dude,
in the NBA
play
would
them
be
on
awesome.
aircraft carriers like they did the one basketball game in college, dude. Oh man.
So they're arguing now. There's actually three major voices that were against a lot of this stuff. Mark Cuban, Charles Barkley, and Shaq were all against bringing the season back because of safety reasons. Another reason someone brought up on the radio I thought was interesting. So say you get the tournament or the playoffs, and then LeBron comes down with COVID.
Yeah, well, how is that safe or how's that equal? I get you.
And it shoots your whole. Nobody's going to watch once LeBron gets eliminated for COVID.
I mean, how's that any different than the flu, though?
Yeah, well, Jordan proved you could play with the flu.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, though, out of the three characters that Steve just described, one of them is an owner. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. So, yeah, it's...
I watch it, and I don't know how many people do. Pat McAfee shows on YouTube. I love that guy. He's funny as hell. And he had it on there. But Mark Cuban actually texted into his show. He said he didn't want the tournament thing, but he did want to get the season back in some form. So he wants some kind of form, but not sure what. And my daughter's cracking up.
So then back to
exhibit going on back there.
So, but back to the usual question: what do you guys think? How does this season wrap up? Is this season a wash? What do you guys think?
I think they're going to try some kind of playoff form. I don't think there's going to be no more season. They might just seed the playoffs, and I think they're going to try it. But will the players' union and them agree on it? That's the question. I don't know. I really don't know. That seems to be a big problem. Bill, any thoughts?
It seems that the players want to play. So if there's a way to get it done, and most importantly, to Charles's point on the NFL, if there's revenue to be made from it, and it can be done safely enough that they can sell it, they'll find a way to do it. It may extend a little bit further beyond when it usually. I mean, I think they might be finishing up a little later than June, but I think if there's a way to do it, they will.
I think that it hits so close to home, and I was making a crack earlier about them all have, but I think that if any of the leagues, the league of the NBA knows the risks that are involved. They also know the recovery that it takes to get over the particular virus. I'd argue. I think that they know they have more information, in my opinion, than most leagues. And if to BV's point, if the players are down to play, I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to get like an abbreviated like finish to the regular season and then a playoff seeding, just so that you can't complain like we could have gotten hot and then you killed it. They're going to give them a little window of regular season and then seed them is I think what's going to happen.
I want the March Madness. That would be so awesome.
That sounds freaking amazing. Dude, admittedly, I got to empty my bank account to go freaking wager on this.
I have to call up that Argentina casino.
Dude, imagine the intensity, too. Like oh my God. That would be the best NBA season ever.
Yeah.
Dude, we'd have to get a pool or something going on.
That would be fantastic.
Awesome. So that leads us into baseball, America's pastime. So now they're shooting. They want an 82-game series, 82-game season. They're going to have spring training in June, and they want to start the season July 4th. That's how soon they want to start. And then they're opening up the playoffs to 2 more teams. But here's the catch. The owners don't want to pay anybody. So you hear about all this hero pay.
To do pro bono? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, they want to pay them like a third of their salary because no one's going to be in the stands. So they're claiming they ain't got no money.
Dude. How much of that revenue is in attendance? Because if that's the case, to your point, the Marlins shouldn't have been paying players for like 10 years or whatever. Like, get out of here with it.
Well, and the players aren't having it. They're like, screw you guys. I'm not going to risk my life for less money.
Yeah.
So they want their full pay. And so I'm right now, if I had to bet, I'd bet 60% chance there isn't going to be a baseball season just because of that pay. They got to work that out because they're right now. So any thoughts on that, Bill? Did you hear that too? Or
yeah, I had heard about that. I'd heard some of the stuff, like particularly there was that one pitcher for the Rays, Blake Snell, who's actually
that's the guy
one of the better pitchers in the league that said, I'm out there risking my life and I'm not going to do it for less. I can see both sides of the argument. The one thing I'd say about this, if there is any league that can find a way to blow it, even if the money's there, it's Major League Baseball. So if any of these leagues will find a way not to play, it'd be them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm with BV. Like, I think you've got the problem is more than any of the other leagues that you described. You've got the biggest void between ownership and players in this particular league, and that's
they hate it. They hate each other in that league.
and that could lead to just a complete freeze out for the season. I think it's entirely possible they miss it.
They're also the one league that I think can least afford to have that happen.
Yeah,
and they'll find it because people are almost at the point. You had that little run in the last 20 years where people don't care anymore. Something happens to revitalize it, and then it falls off again. And they've only got so many lives. So if they just disappear for an extended period of time, people aren't going to care when they come back.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I want to see. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But back to baseball. One of my gripes about baseball is the length of season. I almost want to see a condensed season just to prove my point that, like, the issue with a lot of these leagues is the length of their season. Like, I would like to be able to point to this year of proving, like, to the ownership of some of these leagues. Like, I get that, games equal revenue, but sometimes the product suffers at some point. You know what I mean? Like, so that would be my 2 cents.
Yeah. Now, and I didn't put hockey on here
because it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, I've heard no news about this yet.
Because no one cares.
I think they're just like, we're done and we're good.
NBC's pouring one out, and everyone else is like, oh, okay, who gives a shit?
Has anyone else heard any hockey news?
Get a hold of Trudeau and find out what the NHL's doing. Who gives a shit?
I mean, I've heard no news on hockey.
Get a hold of Jennifer Johnson, see what the Red Wings are doing.
So, I mean, we heard about UFC, we know about wrestling, now football and all this, but hockey, no one cares. It's like, well, we're good. We'll just pack up the ice, come back next year, I guess.
Pack up the ice.
I don't know.
Just roll it up at the end of the year.
Roll it up like a wrestling match.
Dude, did anyone pick up the ice? No, I forgot. Oh, okay, let me go roll it.
All right, so that's a look at what sports is doing, and then, of course, once those start going, you'll probably see some sport bet casinos coming back. I did hear on the radio today an advertisement for one of the local sports betting places online for one of the Vegas Circus something. I forget what it was. Circus Sports, I think it was. So they're starting to ramp up. They're like, let's get this going. We need to make some money. Yeah. So, Charles, outside of sports, why don't you tell us our case count?
Yeah, so the case count for Wayne County as of this Sunday was 19,016, or 1 out of 92. Was 1 out of 97, so it's definitely, in my opinion, has slowed down. This is purely anecdotal, but like Heather is friendly with an ER nurse. She said that at their particular hospital, they were getting like 10 to 12 cases every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like whatever that be. I forget whatever period. Now she's like, they're down to like 2. So you can see, I think that the tide has swung. If Gretchen doesn't open it up, man, oh my Lord, like this state is going to rip apart at the seams if she doesn't open it at the end of this month, man. Because I just don't, people are so restless right now. It is unbelievable.
And Detroit closed down the TCF Center beds
the temporary shelter,
the temporary they closed all that down.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're slowly starting to get a little better out of this stuff.
What it looks like is, it looks like to me, and again, I'm not, Fauci with the CDC or nothing like that, but it looks like it kind of, it hits states kind of hard and then kind of moves on. And as you kind of get those cases under, and us, we were in that first wave, kind of like New York was in that first wave in California and Washington. And then it just seems, so then it just kind of hits those other states as it kind of just works its way through your state. So, but to me, I'm of the opinion, I'm no Trump supporter, but you got to open this beast up, man. You got to at this point. Financially, you got no choice at this point.
Did you see the fight that broke out at the last protest?
No, what do you got?
Some dude showed up with an axe and a female doll on a noose.
Oh, Jesus.
That was supposed to be Gretchen Wilson. And some other protesters didn't like it. They started tackling each other and rolling around the crowd. Christ, they were there protesting the same thing, and they were arguing with each other.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm amazed no one's got shot yet. I'm totally amazed that hasn't happened. But, yeah. So, yeah, this place is going to go nuts if she extends it. So, someone did post, it was interesting, on Facebook or somewhere, a map of the states that are still on strict lockdown, and then a map of the states that have Democratic governors, and it's almost like
they lined up with each other.
Thought that was interesting.
What's the situation in Illinois, BB? What do you got over there? What do you got going on?
Oh, well, it was weird because there was a few days where there was seemed like a big spike, and they were saying that had to do with finally they were catching up with testing, so they were getting more accurate numbers. But I saw something today that said that they had the lowest number of deaths in like almost a month. I think it's starting to settle, although Cook County, which is the county that Chicago is in, did surpass Queens County in New York as, the county in the U.S. with the most cases confirmed. So
they also is the county with the most house parties with thousands of people.
That's right. Might have. Think they might go together. So yeah, no, people are starting to get. They're not, storming the Capitol with axes and assault rifles, but people are starting to get a little restless here about things too, and I think there's going to be. Most states are going to end up opening things up by the end of May, at least to a certain degree. I think our governor's saying that we're on track, and we have like a 5-stage.
The phases, you got the phases.
Yeah. We're currently in phase 2. We're supposed to go. I imagine that was probably something coordinated. Remember, there was like those 7 Midwestern governors were working on. We're apparently on track to go into phase 3 at the end of the month. So we'll see.
So what's your guys' opinion? I mean, I think we're all in line. End of the month, you got to pull the skirt up and go to work and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the end of the month's got to go. Yeah,
to a degree. Yeah, I don't know if it's full blown open up the world, but
you got to
follow
the
rules.
Yeah,
like I picked up Famous Dave today, and it's a carry out, so you got to register with that world saving plexiglass. And everyone stayed 6 feet apart. Yeah. There are a lot of people there, though. I was surprised by that.
People getting out, man. I tell you, people getting out.
Have you heard about the restaurants that are putting mannequins in the empty tables?
No, what? What does that do?
So some of the states have opened up, and that you can eat in the restaurants, but you have to have every other table. So to make it look like it's not empty, they've dressed mannequins in the every other table.
That's so weird, man. These people with their ideas during this is just so weird.
One restaurant did mannequins, another restaurant did blow-up dolls and dressed them blow-up dolls.
Did you guys see in Wyoming, by the way, they're opening up the strip clubs and the strippers are wearing masks while they're stripping? It's so weird. Like you're butt naked wearing a mask. It's so stupid.
They gotta wear like an old school World War II gas mask.
There's some dudes that are probably into that, some steampunk porn. Yeah, so weird, man. I don't know.
I'd be interested to see what that looks like, though.
Dude, there's some pictures, man. I peeped at it today on Huffington. It was funny. I was laughing about that one. So, what do you got, Steve? What else we going with?
All right, so that's it for our COVID talk. All right. Now, last week or the week before, you were talking about the WWE ice cream bars and the exclusive Walmart Mountain Dew. So I failed miserably at the WWE ice cream bars. I could not find the ice cream bars, but I found one 20-ounce bottle in the whole store at Walmart. Yeah. One 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew Frostbite. Now, Bill and I both have diabetes, so I can't be drinking too much of this.
What does it say? What flavor profile are they labeling the Frostbite as? Is it like a blue raspberry or something?
It doesn't say anything.
It's just Frostbite. Okay.
It says naturally and artificially flavored Dew.
It doesn't tell you what they're going for or nothing? No, what if it's minty?
Shark. So if you're an extreme video gamer, you could have a shark in your Dew.
Okay, yeah. I would have tried it with you. I just couldn't find that mug. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, it was sold out. There's no in the soda aisle, soda pop, whatever you want to call it. Nothing. It wasn't. I couldn't find it anywhere. I told you by the register there was one bottle.
Yeah, wow.
So now, full disclosure.
Why is it an exclusive to Walmart? You ever wonder that? Like, Jesus, man, how much money? How much pop does?
There's probably antifreeze in this. That's probably why. I don't know. But full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of flavored Mountain Dew. Are you? I know you like the Baja.
Oh,
right,
Baja's delicious.
I'm not. My Mountain Dew drinking days, it was regular Dew or nothing. That's all it was. So
sugar-free Baja Blast is just delicious right now. BV, you drink? Wait. Besides Diet Pepsi, you drink anything random?
Not really. Not pop. I mean, I've never liked Mountain Dew of any kind. So
no. That's true. Bill's been old school. Fuck the Dew. He's never liked it.
All right. Well, what's that nose like on that? Give that a whiff. Give me that whiff. What do you got?
It smells like antifreeze.
Yeah, it's all right. That's Mountain Dew. All right, all right.
It has a little bit of a berry smell to it. I think you're right on the raspberry.
Okay. Usually that blue raspberry vibe.
That don't taste anything like Mountain Dew.
No?
It's like a berry soda is what it tastes like.
So it's like a Faygo kind of vibe to it or something like that?
Yeah, if I had to guess. If I'm a Mountain Dew fan, I'd chuck this. I'd be like, what is this? I mean, one more sip.
Did they have a diet version of that? BB, you can look online. They got a diet version of it too? I wonder.
I mean, it's not bad, but it doesn't taste like Dew.
No.
If you're into Mountain Dew, I don't see. This is just we slapped a brand on here, and we had a couple cases of raspberry pop in the back. There's some berry.
Call it Mountain Dew Frostbite. Throw it in Walmart. Those hillbillies will buy it.
Hey, Holly, come here.
Oh.
So we'll have my daughter. Taste test.
Okay. Get TikTok in here.
It doesn't look like
Hey, TikTok.
diet Frostbite or zero Frostbite.
No, there's
This
no.
looks like black toilet water.
Yeah, it does look like toilet water. You're right.
It smells good.
It's 2000
smells good?
Flushes Mountain Dew edition.
It's like
Tastes like berries. You thinking berries?
it
Urinal
tastes like-
cake.
Yeah.
Tastes like urinal cake.
No. You know what it tastes like? It tastes like the blue raspberry slushy, but like just like if it didn't like freeze.
So it tastes like a melted blue raspberry slush.
I kind of like that, though. I like that
It
blue
is an
slushy.
attractive
though.
bottle.
You want the rest of it?
You like the
No.
bottle?
I like the color of the drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very,
it
it's
is
very good. The
definitely
bottle, I like the label.
10,000 flushes. It definitely does look like.
Mom wants to try it.
Take it to your mom.
All right,
there
so
you go,
what do you
Mountain
think?
Dew-
Doesn't taste like it's in the Mountain Dew family, but it's okay for a blue.
But
Yeah.
if you wanted a berry flavored soda, it's fine. But you're not going to find it anyways. 'cause
It also
Walmart
looks
only
like
has
my
one-
hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. So, but Holly likes it. It tastes very berry flavored, but she doesn't like carbonated things. It hurts her or something. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
So, like I said, I didn't like the flavored. So, and Charles, you got to try. the
Yeah, so
Captain
I
Morgan.
finally tried that Captain Morgan, the orange vanilla, their summer edition one. That's delicious stuff too. Steve was right on with that. Sounds like you could mix that with whatever, man. It's got a delicious vibe. And again, we've talked about it at length on this podcast at this point, but like, why would you not drink that over so many other like hard liquors? I don't understand why you want liquor that tastes like the way that like bourbons and all that other stuff taste when that vanilla orange tastes delicious. I don't understand. Like, it's so
You're
weird.
probably the only person in America that drinks liquor for the taste.
Yeah, I think so.
Most people drink it to get to a certain point.
Yeah.
I think of,
So,
But you could easily see yourself drinking a bottle of that without realizing it,
yeah,
right?
if you
'Cause
mix
goes
it
down so
within,
smooth.
and you said you did Sprite, I did ginger ale, you'd have no idea you were drinking hooch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
If you were to really go to work on that, you'd get blitzed really easy. I could see Michelle not knowing and just keep going. You know, it's
Yeah, well, that was the Wig's original. He said it too.
he's right
He
on
was
with
one
that. Delicious.
They pounded a bottle of it one night, and they were like, "Ooh," they're
Yeah.
feeling pretty good by the end of
you
it.
said that was, what, 70 proof?
Yeah, it's like 30.
Yeah.
I think it's 30% alcohol.
Yeah, it won't blow you up right away, but a bottle of it will probably catch up with you after a while. So Mountain Dew Frostbite tastes like a berry soda, nothing like Mountain Dew. And Charles,
If you can find that Captain Morgan's, man, give it a shot, folks. And I want to say it's cheap too. It's a low alcohol by volume. I want to say it's under $20. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's delicious.
The liquor I've been seeing popping up everywhere around here, anyways, is that Screwball, that peanut butter whiskey.
Oh yeah, it's
And
big time.
I've seen stacks of it everywhere now. So that's not that I've actually.
And
been
again, that
looking for
tastes
liquor,
good
but-
too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that would be something you'd actually enjoy drinking. God forbid you
Well-
enjoy drinking your hooch.
Well, when we were growing up, or younger, anytime you liked any kind of drink that tasted a little good,
You were a
You were
bitch.
called a
Yeah.
You're such a
Yeah.
sissy. Why are you drinking a
Dude.
woman's drink?
Dude,
That's
all
what
day.
thought.
I told you those Seagram wine coolers I drank were one of the best things I've had in forever. I don't care anymore. I just telling you, man. Give me those bitch
So
drinks with the umbrellas all day.
All right, let's go to some reviews now. Charles or Bill, either one of you guys ever watch Vikings on History Channel?
I did, and I watched the first season or two of that, and it's okay. It wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I loved, but it was a decent show.
Bill, you ever seen Vikings, or you know what we're talking about?
I wanted to, but I never got to it.
Okay, so on Netflix they have a show called The Last Kingdom, and it was I liked the Vikings. But once the main guy died, I quit watching. But this one, you're England, and then people from Norway, or they called them the Danes. Where are the Danes from? Bill, your history buff?
Denmark.
Danish people are from
The Netherlands.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's Dutch.
Is someone getting a phone call?
My telephone is going off. My home phone.
Pick that up. See who it is. Say who this.
It's the in-law. I'll let Abby get that.
Oh man.
So, the Last Kingdom is basically that. It's the Dutch people or whatever invading England.
Well, hold on. Can I pause you for a second too? This is into its 4th season. Am I correct in saying that? This is a Netflix OG original, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I only watched the first 2 episodes of the first season, so it's okay.
How's the production value on it? Is it?
It feels like close to Vikings, but maybe a little bit below Vikings. So Vikings has a little bit better acting and production value. This is like a step behind it. So if Vikings is like a 7, this is what? The Steve 6. But it's not one of those ones that grabs you and makes you want to watch all 4 seasons. Like Peaky Blinders, you watch it, you're like, oh man, I want to see what happens to these guys. This was kind of which I feel like a lot of stuff on Netflix is that way at this point. But I'll try to get more into it. But right now it's a 6. It's okay.
Are you following a particular core group of characters? Are you following a king?
Yes.
Who are we following?
So the Danes come in and they wipe out this king, one of the king. So England's broke up into like 9 kingdoms, and they wipe out this one king, but his son isn't killed. His son's only like 10 years old. One of the Danes' head chieftains or whatever take him in as a son. So he's raised as a Dane, but he's actually got...
Gotcha. He's got the heir to the
English
throne. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
So then eventually...
I'm picking up your premise. I get you.
Yeah, his adopted father gets murdered, so now he's on his own trying to reclaim his land in England.
It's his to go and figure out.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, but there was no 21andMe back then, so he couldn't really prove who he is. And it's not bad. It's just it's missing something. I don't know, but it's hard to put my finger on it. So maybe it gets better as the seasons go on. Maybe it's one of those Clone Wars type deals where, I don't watch the first 2, but it gets good at episode 7. So maybe I'll try a little later on. I think it's in cooperation with the BBC as well. So I'll give it a little more time. But as of right now, it's a 6. And I'll fill in anybody if I watch it some more later on. Now, Bill, you got to give us our weekly Jordan update. Was it any good this week? There it is.
Yeah, it was good. So this past week, the episodes focused kind of on his return, Jordan's return to the league after his baseball run. Actually, talked a little about his baseball run, and then got him through the first of the second run of championships where they beat the Sonics. They did address the father's death and the claims about it being some sort of retaliation or message for his gambling debts. Pretty much, and they only covered it for a couple of minutes. It's basically everyone that they talked to that was around him or whatnot said that there was not a shred of evidence that any of this was related to his gambling or the mob or anything else, and basically poo-pooed it, and basically were saying it's just completely disrespectful. The media was trying to tear Jordan down, kind of thing. So it looks like if there's any smoke there, it's well hidden, but there doesn't appear to be anything. And so they're building up to the last 2 episodes of the series tonight. They'll cover the last 2 championships and kind of bring it all full circle.
Now, did they show the part where he was laughing at Gary Payton currently?
Yeah, that was they showed, because Gary Payton was talking about this. Because what happened is that the Bulls in that series went up 3-0, and then Payton had been complaining to George Karl, who was the coach of the Sonics at the time, that he wanted to guard Jordan heads up. He finally got him to let him do it in Game 4. And the Sonics came back and won those next 2 games. So Payton was talking about how he doesn't know whether if he had guarded him the whole time that if the overall result would have been different, but. Basically was saying, and he was basically laughing at the idea that Gary Payton could guard him or gave him any trouble at all.
They say it's gonna be a new meme of him sitting there looking at that iPad just cracking up.
It's hilarious. That basically anytime somebody either is brought up or says something that appeared that they were even questioning whether or not he was the absolute dominant force in basketball. It seems like it was like a personal, like affront to him, and he would take it very personally, and he'd make it a point to freaking bust their ass. And he's very the idea of anybody being, taking him off his throne it's extremely insulting to him. Very interesting personality.
Yeah. It kind of related to this, fell down a rabbit hole of highlights of Charles Barkley and Shaq on NBA Tonight on the YouTube.
They're very enjoyable on that show. They're very enjoyable on that.
He ripped on big women from San Antonio like 500 times. And Shaq didn't know the distance from the Earth to the moon. He thought flying from Atlanta to California was further than flying to the moon. It was a whole rabbit hole I fell down one day watching that. So if you get a chance, YouTube that, you'll laugh. So, okay.
I was going to say, I saw one. I do YouTube rabbit holes all the time. And I saw one where they were talking. It was right after, I think it was the first championship that the Warriors beat the Cavaliers in, and LeBron James in the deciding game had kind of been really passive and hadn't done much. And Barkley's talking about how disappointed he was. And then, of course, one of the announcers said, well, what does this do to the argument people have made about LeBron being the GOAT over Jordan? And he goes, look, I'll tell the people in the media right now. He just tells straight up. He goes, if I see any of you guys in person try to say anything about LeBron being the GOAT over Jordan or being better than Jordan at anything involved with basketball, he's like, I'm just going to slap you on the spot. And I'll let the legal process work itself out. It's hilarious.
That's pretty good.
That guy's so funny, man. Oh, it cracks me up. So now the other running series that we all been watching is Dark Side of the Ring. Did you guys catch the last ride of the Road Warriors?
Yeah, great show. Great, another episode that I did not know. And again, I'm sure you guys will look at me like just to learn about their lineage and like what they went through and all that kind of stuff and how crazy they were, man. Oh my God. Like I just didn't understand. Like their brothers of the old boy that died look like two regular like accountants. their brother's like an insane pro wrestler, all juiced and jacked out of his mind. It's crazy.
I didn't realize most of it I knew, but some of the stuff I didn't know. Like I didn't know how much nose candy Hawk liked and all the other stuff. He did Japanese mafia. He was in the Japanese
It's crazy.
What the hell? That dude's nuts.
Yeah.
So that was.
And it all started like they were super crazy, like basically bouncers in like a biker club and all this. Like, dude, that was next level. What's going on in Minnesota? Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, what about those Village People outfits they had on one of their first tag team?
They looked pretty rough, didn't they?
The chops.
What is your take on it, Bill?
The story wasn't quite as dramatic as some of the other ones that they've done. I mean, it's an interesting story. I enjoyed the episode. It was a little bit kind of toned down from some of the others because it wasn't as controversial or didn't have like Hawk just OD'd or had a heart attack. He had a heart attack. He didn't he didn't get stabbed with a concealed butter knife or some kind of foul play, but it was a good episode. Really looking forward to the season finale.
Dude, this looks great.
Owen Hart.
Yeah, dude.
By the way, you asked last week, Charles, that you can find the full episodes of season 1 on YouTube.
Oh, I definitely got to go back then just to have a recap of those season 1 stuff, man. Again, we sound like broken records at this point. Just a great show. God, what a great show. Super good, super entertaining.
Does it look like Animal's been deflated though? Like he lost so much weight.
Oh my God, he does. It looks like he does a podcast.
He's got to be like
too.
In his 60s.
Yeah, that's true. He's in his 60s probably. It was a good episode. I didn't know how crazy Hawk was on some of that.
Dude, it's nuts.
And it's funny how they always find Jesus, right? He found Jesus, he found a wife, and then he died. So that's kind of a bummer.
Crazy.
But Dark Side of the Ring, again, we preach about it each week. If you have any kind of desire to learn about wrestling, it is some informative stuff.
It's just it's always great, and we talk about it all the time. You guys love those straight interviews and stuff like that. To have pro wrestlers talk about real life is some of the most fascinating stuff you could ever have, man. It's just great.
It's sit in the bar and listen for hours kind of stuff.
Dude, it's some of the most entertaining shit on the planet.
Because it's amazing what these people went through. It's like, are you serious?
And they talk about it like it's so normal. Like, what the hell?
So he's doing lines of coke with Japanese
Yeah, it's like, what? Okay, great.
Yeah, so very interesting. I like that show a lot. Now, this next one has a backstory. So Chuck, a friend of mine from work, he's kind of right wing. Okay, he's very right wing, and we don't talk a lot of politics on this podcast. I'm somewhere in the middle, and Chuck is like, if you have a right and it stops, Chuck goes past it. And he gave me some movies, documentaries that he saw at the theater by this guy named Dinesh D'Souza or something is his name. He was a right wing commentator that's decided to make documentaries.
Oh, great.
And the one I watched, I found it for free on YouTube, but that guy didn't pay for it. Death of a Nation is called. Okay. This was released in 2000. This was released in 2018. He opens it up and he compares the U.S. Well, he's talking a lot about Nazis and how their empire fell, and then the Roman Empire and how they fell, which then leads into like America, are we the next big empire to fall? Which we probably are, but whatever.
America.
Yeah, but then it goes right into all the 2016 stuff with Hillary and Trump. Okay, and it's kind of funny to relive some of that stuff. And then it goes back to World War II, and basically the gist of this movie is everything the Nazis did, the Democrats did and are currently doing. So Democrats are Nazis, according to this movie.
Jesus.
I'll give you some examples. So in Italy, the Mussolini had the black shirts, and in Germany, Hitler had his SS, right? So basically, if you disagreed with him, this group of people show up and snot. In this documentary, they claim they got those ideas from the Klan and Democratic plantation owners in America. That's where they got their ideas.
Oh,
also, the death camps in Germany were inspired by plantation owners in the South in America. I swear to God. Okay. So
well, what does that got to do with Hillary in 2008 or 16? I don't understand.
What evidence did they have to show that in the first place? Are they just saying, "Oh, look, parallels between this and this. It must be causational."
And then the best one is he talks about Nazi political points, and one of them is unified health care for the country. So he's saying that universal health care
is a vote for Nazism? Yes. Jesus.
If you want nationwide health care, you're a Nazi.
So is he implying that like Great Britain and all these other countries that have national health care? Like,
does he realize that the U.S. is literally the single only industrialized nation in the world that doesn't have that? Literally.
Because they're avoiding Nazis.
Countries in the industrialized world have universal health care, some form of it.
And that's
We're
just
the only ones that don't.
Because then he goes into Abraham Lincoln, and, and it's like all over the place. Man. It doesn't make any sense.
Now, what's the production value? How much coin do you think this guy paid to make this documentary?
It was like, because he had like full-blown actors acting out the Nazi stuff and stuff.
Of course he did.
So it was like at least History Channel level productions.
Jesus.
And it was 2 hours. And at the very end, he compares Trump to Lincoln.
Wow.
We need Trump because he's our beacon here. I couldn't believe it. And I got done watching that. It was 2 hours of my life. I'll never get back.
Oh, my Lord, Steve.
And I can't believe Chuck at work paid to go to the theater to see this thing.
What theater had it?
AMC had it.
On AMC had it, huh? Wow.
Oh, yeah. So.
Well, it is Livonia, so.
Yeah, it's true.
This guy has 4 documentaries out. That was the latest one. I was like, I'm done. I'm not watching it anymore.
Oh, my God.
I mean, nothing. Like a good documentary, people rip on Michael Moore all they want, and I know he's very liberal, but he does tend to show kind of both sides here and there. Like the healthcare one, he was showing I mean, you believe it or not.
I was going to say, I don't think a lot of Republicans would agree with you, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no.
But he also didn't say every Republican was a Nazi either.
Yeah, but he just tried to equate like George Bush to everything bad, though, too. So I don't know.
So everything in a documentary, I know, is usually slanted a little bit, but you got to just assume that everything the Democrats did inspired the Nazis.
That's a little deep, man. That's a little deep.
Yeah, so this is a 2. Maybe a
2.
1,
A Steve 2 is the new going out there.
I couldn't believe it. After 2 hours of my life, I just felt dumber after sitting through it. It was terrible.
I gotta tell you, so we were watching MTV on the DirecTV Now app or AT&T TV Now or whatever they call it now. And during all the commercial breaks, the thing about this DirecTV or this AT&T app, they tend to like have like the same commercials. It's like worse than like if you had Hulu with commercials. It's the same commercials every commercial break, and it's kind of obnoxious.
I hate that.
MTV Trump's got a new commercial where he's just going after Biden, and we watched it like 8 times, and I was like, this is the worst thing ever. Oh my God. He's just like, oh, well, Biden was xenophobia. Oh my God. Yeah.
So we go from the right wing to something I almost rented, but it looks like you did, Charles. How was Scoob?
So I have to support every movie theater or every movie studio that's destroying movie theaters because I want Steve to have no more movie theaters going forward. So I had to make sure I gave iTunes $20 to watch Scoob. Plus, my daughter loves Scooby Doo. Okay,
it looks good.
It does look good, and I do have. I have an affinity towards those Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo stuff, and I know you do too, Steve.
We grew up on it.
And I think the people that wrote this movie have that affinity. Because you'll see in it, all like the wacky race people make a jump and all this. Like they show up, Captain Caveman as Tracy Morgan. There's a huge butt coming in. So the whole point of Scooby-Doo is there's the gang. There's Shaggy and Scooby, and then the gang. The gang's all there, and then they... Oddly, Shaggy and Scooby fumble their way, and then they figure out, right? That's every premise of everything. They fracture them. So not only do they give you like an origin story of how Scooby and Shaggy met, they also send Scooby and Shaggy over here with the Blue Falcon, who's voiced by Mark Wahlberg. And then the other gang is over here. So like 2/3 of the movie, the gang's not even together. It's really odd. And Scooby and Shaggy are with this Blue Falcon and then like this bionic dog thing the whole time, who's voiced by Ken Jeong. It just seemed so fractured and so weird for a Scooby-Doo movie. My daughter loved it, and any kid will love it. But like for me, I often come to these movies and say, as an adult, could I tell another adult to take your kids to it? If you have any affinity towards those series, you're going to be annoyed with it. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, well, why are they pimping this over here? Like the Captain Caveman stuff would have been great with Scooby-Doo's gang in it. Instead, it's like the weird Blue Falcon fracture, and it's just it was just all sorts of wrong for me. I'd give this thing a 5 out of 10. Like the animation, this is probably the best Warner animation I've seen. So like to Steve's point, it looks good. And, like, you know, all the voice acting, you got a lot of, like, stars in it and stuff like that. But, like, it lost something. I can't explain to you how it did, but it missed what makes Scooby-Doo so good. It just somehow completely missed that. I don't know how else to describe it. It's, like I said, it's that weird Blue Falcon thing, and then Scooby is leaving Shaggy to go be, like, a superhero. And you're like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? They destroy the mystery machine. You're like, wait, huh? I just did not like it. Yeah, I was super annoyed. So 5 out of 10.
Now, the rumor I keep hearing about that is they want to spin Blue Falcon off in his own movie.
You could tell. It's smelled of, we need to sell a lot of toys and, like, into this whole, like, because it didn't. You didn't have to hijack a Scooby-Doo movie. It's like how when you added The Rock to a Fast and Furious movie and you could just see that, like, this is where, okay, so we need to give The Rock a vehicle of his own, and that's incoming. It's again, my daughter loved it. Your kids are going to like it. If they watch the Scooby-Doo show on Netflix, you know what I mean? There's a lot of, like, little insider jokes about, like, people who pay for Netflix and all this kind of stuff. It could have been so much better. I just question the writing behind it. Also, Tracy Morgan as Captain Caveman was a complete disappointment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just...
Tracy Morgan as Captain Caveman?
Yeah, Captain Caveman. Everyone sitting in this digital room remembers Captain Caveman. How cool he was, right? Yeah, totally awesome character. And instead, they show up to get this weird skull, the Blue Falcon and Scooby and Shaggy, of course. You know what I mean? And then they had to get the skull, and of course, Captain Caveman meets him there. And it's like Tracy Morgan kind of being Tracy Morgan, But then
He's
they're
not being
like,
Captain Caveman.
yeah, but then and then they gotta like go and get the skull thing, and then more cavemen guys show up to like cheer him on. It's just all sorts of wrong, man. This is a solid 5 movie. It's just not that good. Yeah. And like I said, your kids are gonna like it, but I would argue your kids would like the Scooby-Doo show on Netflix that you're already paying for. You know what I mean? Like that's my thing. Lorna enjoyed it, but it's a 5.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, you saved me $20 because we were this close.
Well,
like, I really want to
and
watch
to
this
your
movie.
point, and to your point, you could tell that they were gonna spin that Blue Falcon off. It just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, why are we into this Blue Falcon character? Like, what is going on?
They're trying to marvel it, right?
Yeah,
so
they're making
start
a
with the
universe.
Scoob and then spilling them out into their own movies.
Yeah.
Oh man, everyone's trying to
buy
marvel.
it.
What's that, BB?
Huh?
We were actually considering buying it last night.
Dude.
Yeah.
You know, and
It appeals to our age group, but now
I
And
love,
it went-
I love Scooby-Doo.
There's a lot of like weird things. You remember the one dog, the shaggy dog, like last, that guy, like he's in
Dirk
it. The Dirk,
Ashley,
yeah,
yeah.
he's in it, and like that's the main villain or whatever. But like he's weirdly backdropped. It's so annoying to me. It was just like, ugh.
Well, that's a bummer. I had high hopes for that one, and unfortunately. So next, I've been struggling to find Disney Plus stuff to watch. Now, this next one though, I think Charles. There you go.
He's timely with those backgrounds.
I think you'd like this one, Charles. If you seen it on there, it's called Prop Culture.
No, I haven't.
So it's this big guy, and what he does, each episode is about a half hour long. He travels the country finding old props from like classic movies we loved.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
The
decent.
episode I watched was about the Muppet movie. So and when he finds the props, he also talks to the old set designers and people who made the props.
Kind of gives you the lineage of that. Yeah, that's cool.
The coolest was the Studebaker from Fozzie. It's actually by Bill in Illinois. There's a Studebaker museum. They have it
cool.
there. And they show that they built a Studebaker that in the trunk, it was a real car. The driver sat in the trunk using a camera, while Jim Henson and Frank Oz sat in the front seat doing the
puppetry and stuff like that.
Yeah,
oh, man, that's neat. Yeah, that's neat. Okay.
And each episode's a different movie. Now, some movies you're not going to like, but it's Mary Poppins is one, Tron is one, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one. I really want to see that one. There's about 8 episodes. I didn't check all of them, but I did watch the Muppet one. I liked it a lot. So if you're into like how things are made,
does the guy try to buy it, or does he just want to see it and talk about it?
He just wants to see it and talk about it. He just goes and talks to people about it and stuff like that and their history. And with that movie, they're so old. A lot of people have passed away, so it's like their kids.
Do they talk about like how the person who owns it came to own it and stuff like that too? Like that's neat. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And so it's pretty cool. And the guy, he's a big guy with glasses and a beard. He looks like a real life Fozzie Bear. I don't know. He's a big dude. So I thumbs up to Prop Culture. I liked it a lot. It just happened to show up in the slides across the top of my Disney Plus. And I was like, what is this? So I didn't even know it existed. So if you're into how movies are made and movie artifacts and stuff like that, which I am, and I know Charles is, I don't think Bill really cares. But it's a good show, so give that one a chance. I definitely give it like an 8. It was very interesting. But I'm into that kind of stuff. I love the making ofs and stuff like that.
That's one of the things that I love about Adam Savage. So I've often talked about on the show why I'm such a huge fan of the old Mythbuster and stuff like that. He got his start prop making. So like if you go to tested.com, where his main website that he's always working with all the guys on there, he'll pick up, like, he'll get obsessed and make like the gun from Hellboy and stuff like that, and like he'll show you like what he used. Great website, and that stuff intrigues me. I'm with Steve on that one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if you're looking for something new on Disney Plus, highly recommend Prop Culture. Now, this next one, the problem with good villains is when they show their backstories. It pretty much ruined Vader and Boba Fett to me when they did the prequels. And guess what Maleficent does? This is the second one. They've made 2 of these movies now. This is brand new to Disney Plus. This is what we went with instead of Scooby-Doo, which I don't think I did much better, to be honest. Maleficent is Angelina Jolie. Now, if anyone saw the original Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent was one of the biggest Disney villains throughout the 60s, really, basically. She was a witch that turned into a giant dragon and gave the curse to Sleeping Beauty with the spindle and all that stuff. So she was Disney's evil queen, right? She was the one they went to. Her
She had
and
that headdress thing, the weird...
Yeah, well, they're actually horns. They end up being horns.
I'm sorry.
And then the girl from 101 Dalmatians. Those were the top two Disney villains, pretty much. Cruella de Vil, 50s and 60s. And in these movies, the funny thing is the name of the movie is Mistress of Evil. She's literally not an evil person through any of the movies. She plays the girl's mom through the whole movie, and she gets framed, and then she disappears, and then she brings peace at the end. So I watched 2 movies about an evil villain that's never evil. So it drove me nuts. I don't get the appeal to these movies. And here's the other thing, too. So it's a lot of fantasy creatures, walking trees, and trolls. And the CG is up and down. So some things look fantastic, and other things you look like, did the same studio make this? Like when they're flying through the air with the human, it looks terrible. But then like the walking tree looks cool. I don't know. So Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, a lot of people like this, obviously, because they made a sequel to this movie. I don't get it. I don't get how you have an evil character that's never evil. I give this, same thing Charles gave Scooby-Doo. I give it a 5. I don't know who this is for, because I don't think kids would even like this, and the adults won't like it either. So I'm not who the hell's watching this. I have no idea. Maybe like people who love Sleeping Beauty in the '60s, I guess. So a big 5 on this one. I watch Prop Culture. Skip this one. So that's gonna do it for our reviews. The Last Kingdom may get better, but right now it's kind of Jordan, The Last Dance. Bill's still enjoying it. It's a lot of good stuff, and Jordan likes to laugh at people that think they're better than him. Dark Side of the Ring, The Last Ride of the Road Warriors is fantastic as always. Death of a Nation. If you're a right-wing nutcase with an aluminum foil hat on, then you should watch this movie. But anybody else to stay away from it. Charles said Scoob was kind of a letdown, which is a real bummer for me. Prop Culture is a good movie, a good show on Disney Plus. And Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, stay away from that. I don't get the appeal of that one. So we're going to leave Disney, and we're going to go to HBO Max. And you guys have all heard that if you have HBO on May 26th or 27th, May 27th, they're launching the HBO Max. You get it for free, allegedly. So we'll see what happens. And I wanted to put out a list of some of the shows that are going to be there at launch and a little bit after launch. So, and you guys can tell me what you guys think, if you'd watch it. The first one up, they're doing a brand new series of Looney Tunes.
CG animation, or what do we got? Do we got CG? Like old school, like, okay.
Old school. It's supposed to be old school.
Okay.
I love Looney Tunes as much as I like Hanna-Barbera, so I grew up on them. If I have HBO Max, I'm going to watch these. So I'm big yes on Looney Tunes. You guys got thoughts on that?
BB, what do you got?
I will absolutely watch it. I love Looney Tunes.
Tell me, I look at it, she's ecstatic.
You calm it down over there.
I'm way into Looney Tunes. I would watch it. So I think it looks cool. I mean, I'm down with some more Looney Tunes. Only if they bring back the Warner Brothers store.
Oh, I used to love that store. I had all that expensive animation cells that nobody ever bought on the walls.
Like, who bought that shit?
So if Looney Tunes aren't your thing, another available show, this is going to be a show, it's called Love Life. This is Anna Kendrick. This is basically her going through her dating life in her 30s and how dating is like now through Tinder and all that other stuff. But it's supposed to be a little bit of a comedy half-hour show. This looks terrible, so I'm a big no on this one. What do you guys think, Bill?
No.
Let me ask a question to you guys. Is Anna Kendrick hot to you guys? She's like a little girl to me. It's really creepy. I don't know. She's like a 10-year-old. It's really odd.
Her and Kristen Bell have like the same.
Yeah, I don't dig it. I'm not into Veronica Mars. Get out of my life. No.
She's kind of an ironing board.
Yeah. I wasn't going to go there, but all right.
I'm just
next one, I don't know who this is for because it's supposed to be Not Too Late show with Elmo. This is going to be a straight-up interview like Dave Letterman type show, but Elmo's hosting it. This sounds absolutely terrible, so I don't want to see this. Bill, any thoughts on that?
No thoughts whatsoever. Won't be watching it.
Didn't the dude who did Elmo get in trouble for like diddling boys and stuff like that?
I think so.
I think Elmo got busted, didn't he? I mean, I could be wrong.
Elmo's like a Catholic priest.
Yeah, I'm a no on Elmo. I had HBO with the Sesame Street. Whatever.
Next up is Legendary. This is a giant dance competition where like ballroom dancing, but it's lots of people at once, like group dancing and stuff like that. I hate all dancing competitions, so I'm a big no. Bill, I know you love dancing. You gonna watch this?
I couldn't even get into Dancing with the Stars. I'm certainly not going to watch a bunch of people I don't know dancing. So no.
You hit the nail on the head. As soon as you said dancing, I tuned out. I don't like dancing on America's Got Talent. I don't like any of it. No, I'm not into dancing, is what I realize.
All right, so now the next one is On the Record. Now, this is a documentary about the woman who accused, I didn't even know Russell Simmons did get accused for sexual assault. I guess she's considered one of the ones that started the Me Too movement because of this. And she was big in the hip hop community. Sorry, I didn't write her name down on here. It's kind of an interesting documentary. I don't know. Maybe. I'm a maybe on that one. Bill, what do you think?
I'll probably watch it just because I'm a real big old school Def Jam fan. Drew Dixon, is that I just Googled the show to see what it was and who it was.
I tell you this looks like one of those shows that you just wait and listen to if people say it's any good, and if there's nuggets in it. I would argue that like don't put the time in and to let other people kind of you know what I mean, like see if there's anything good in it is what I would argue. Like this is a wait and see. If my answer would be you know what I mean, I bet you there's not much in it.
The brief description, music executive Drew Dixon grapples with her decision to become one of the first women of color in the wake Me Too movement to accuse Russell Simmons. So I think she's one of the first ones in the Me Too movement.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I said, well, that actually kind of brings up a point kind of to kind of piggyback off Charles here. To me, if this becomes more of a go through the record and kind of look at the merits of the claim, to, kind of tell the backstory, that's fine. At the risk of sounding like a completely, freaking old cavemanish man, if it's just a story about how courageous she was for starting the Me Too movement, I'm not particularly all that interested in watching it.
I think it's going to be that. It's going to be the story of her being courageous and starting the movement. But I guess we'll find out, right? So that's it for May 27th. Now, there was a lot of other ones, but these are the only ones I could find that I thought might be remotely entertaining. So if you click that
let me
link
ask a question, too. So these are all the new ones. Are they getting back catalog of anything that you see in that list?
Yes.
Like, what are some of the hitters that you can think of on that? Like, what are some of the back
all
catalog?
Warner Brothers stuff. So you're going to get Lord of the Rings, Hobbits. You're going to get Batman, Supermans. You're going to get basically if it's made by Warner Brothers, it's going to show up on there.
What show hitters you got there? What do you got? Anything off the top of your head? Were they supposed to be getting like the Friends and all that kind of stuff? Wasn't that supposed to go to HBO Max and stuff?
They're supposed to get the Friends.
I thought I saw they had like all the Fresh Prince stuff too.
Oh, that's cool. Backlog Fresh Prince. That ain't bad.
Yeah,
you can watch the Why Don't He Love Me, Uncle Phil episode, dude.
Why do you love it?
But there are some other ones coming the months after. So Doom Patrol Season 2 is coming. Now, I find that interesting because they're taking it off the DC Universe app and putting it on the HBO Max app. I feel like the DC Universe app is going to disappear pretty quickly.
They're just going to roll the content in is what I would assume.
And Doom Patrol's the first one. I did watch the first season of this. I didn't like it, and I'm into superheroes, so I'm a big no on this. I assume both of you guys aren't going to watch that, right?
Oh, I'm a huge yes. You know what I mean?
That's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
And this next one I put on here because I know Charles loves Amy Schumer so much. This is a documentary. I guess she had a difficult pregnancy.
Who cares?
And of course, she documented it.
Of course she did. Her and Ashley Graham or whatever her name is. It's so I hate her. I hate her.
I found her funny for about 10 minutes. And now, have you seen the commercials? Because my wife loves Food Network. The Amy Schumer cooking show. It looks terrible.
Yeah, I had the misfortune of watching about 10 minutes of that show.
Oh, you actually watched it?
Yeah. It was one of those things. I flipped past it. I saw it. And I'm like, what the hell?
You wouldn't understand it. You're a dumb man anyway, BV.
Fair enough. Guilty as charged. Not a big fan of Amy Schumer either. But It didn't make any sense.
And
Kind
then
of a complete waste of time.
this last one, I just put it on here because I wanted to tell you the concept. So Seth Rogen plays an immigrant in like the 1800s that comes over here and works in a pickle factory. He falls in a pickle barrel, and it preserves him until the year 2020. And then they open the pickle barrel up. And he also plays his great-grandson.
I might need to watch this. It sounds pretty good. He's in a pickle barrel.
It's called
Seth Rogen in a pickle barrel is what they should have called the show.
I had to put this on here because I couldn't believe
It's
it.
called
When I
an
read the
American Pickle. That's a big yes. That's our first. That's a 10 out of 10 for a show. I guarantee you, or a movie rather.
How much weed was he smoking to come up with
American
this
Pickle.
So there we go.
I'm a
So the only
huge
highlights
yes.
to me is Looney Tunes and American Pickle.
Yeah,
After
it's an
that,
American Pickle.
so I don't know. There's
gonna
some
be
other things.
horrible.
There's a lot of big list of other, like there's a lot of old TV and movie. There's also something called Craftopia. It's a kids crafting show for people like Lorna's age. There's a lot of cartoons, like Adventure Time's coming out with a cartoon.
Is like the
Emma
Teen Titans
Roy.
Go going on to it? Do you see that on the list?
No, close enough. A lot of people like from Cartoon Network been pulled over. Teen Titans is not one of them. Tig and Seek. So there's a lot of cartoons. So I guess they're trying to get your kid in. Something called the Dog House. It's a rescue shelter for dogs. It's a reality show based on that. So there is some other stuff, but my highlight was American Pickle because I couldn't believe it
It's
when I
the
read that.
stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm all in.
I heard he's into making pottery now.
Oh,
That's all
he's
he does.
huge into it. He's making ashtrays and vases and so the vases, whatever you want to call
So he came up with the pickle idea when making some pottery.
it. He's so high all the time.
He's got that weird homeless beard he wears all the
Dude,
time.
What are you
now.
talking about? Something wrong? I'm gonna fall to a pickle barrel. Like, dude, what? And some executives like, yeah, go on. Yeah, we got you.
Yes. Tell me more about this pickle barrel, will you please?
That's so stupid.
All right. So that's gonna do for HBO Max. I imagine more stuff will come as it comes, but a lot of animation for your kids if you are into that. And if you have HBO, you're gonna get it for free anyway. Of course, Game of Thrones is gonna be on there. Sopranos is gonna be on there. Curb Your Enthusiasm. All the old shows are gonna be on there as well. I think Seinfeld. Don't quote me on that. Seinfeld might be Peacock, but I don't know. This week, we had some new shows shows ending and going. Now, I did watch this one. I caught this one, Charles, and I wanted to ask you this week. Survivor, the final.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So, BV time.
Just got his buff on.
So, again, I got back into it a little later. They brought back past winners, and then they doubled the prize money this particular season, which on its face sounds good. The problem is with Survivor. They're monkeying with the game, but they're only monkeying with it to add like fire tokens and Edge of Extinction stuff. So they're trying to put new wrinkles into the game, but I could make the argument that you're not improving the game. And again, we would talk about it tirelessly at this point. If you want to get a change in Survivor, change the location of it. You don't even. Why does it got to be a tropical island? You know what I mean? Like, I don't put them in
Alaska.
do something, anything to change the locale is what I don't understand. And it's incredibly frustrating that they refuse after 40-something seasons of this show to adjust the locale on it. And it's just like, stop adding little minuscule game changers because I feel like at this point, a lot of people understand the game and the immunity idols and kind of, you know what I mean? The one chick who came in second place was on Edge of Extinction from day one to when they brought her back and then made it to the final three. She deserved to win, but the Tony guy won. I'm sure. Spoilers if you haven't obviously watched it, but your fault. It was on Wednesday. The other thing that was funny, too, if you watched this episode, Steve, the pandemic screwed them all up. They had to do like a Zoom thing for the end, like the pandemic.
I will say it made it better.
Because it wasn't just awkward interviews with like the family and
it was
stuff.
like 5 minutes, here's your winner, goodbye.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
agree.
I like.
I don't know, man. I can get sucked into that show at Amazing Race. I can, but like Amazing Race doesn't tweak the formula as much. Survivor's tinkering all the time, and the fire token thing is this season's tinker, but I don't think it added much. It's hard to explain. I don't know.
Well, how I watched Survivor, I watched the first episode with my wife, and then I watch the last episode. That's all I do. I Tiger King it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
watch
much
the-
like you do your Tiger King situation.
The one thing I'll say, and the Extinction Island thing's annoying, and it seems like they've really upped the number of Immunity Island idols.
They're
in this
constantly, but that's
It's like everyone had one on the thing I watched.
from someone who's playing an obscene amount of board games lately, and I've got more to talk about this week, but I figured I'd wait and let it build up a little bit because I'm killing you guys in board games. You got to put when you start to understand the rules so drastically, you can start to formulate a lot of plans. So the thing behind all the idols is it tends to mix up plans more. I know why the producers are putting them in there as much. It's like the Clue thing, as me and you kind of discussed my issue with Clue. I played so much Clue that I understood how to manipulate Clue. And I think people got to a point where they could manipulate Survivor. So they kept throwing immunity idols at them just because it would throw off so many plans.
Yeah. So that was the big this week. And we're just supposed to, if you haven't seen it, we already spoiled it for you. The bald cop guy won, Tony.
And I'd say rightly so. It was between him and the Indian girl, and it should have definitely been those two.
I did enjoy when he climbed the tree to spy on them.
He's been doing that for seasons now. You know what I mean? It's good on him.
You think people will start looking up at the tree?
Yeah, and he just hangs out right over top of that watering hole and just listens to him talk. They do it all the time.
So Survivor, now the other big, it was a Netflix debut this week, Dead to Me. This is that one with Christina Applegate. That was
Heather
on this
loves
week.
this show. Loves it.
Heather watched it.
Yeah, loves it.
Michelle liked it. I don't think she watched the second season yet. I didn't really think any of us would watch it. Now, the one I wanted to ask Bill, maybe he's seen it. Billions is back this week on Showtime. Bill, you've ever seen that show?
I have not. I don't have Showtime.
Is that Paul Giamatti in that show? I'm looking at BV pull up that. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm interested if Paul Giamatti's in it. I like Paul Giamatti.
It's the redheaded guy from, you can't see him because
Band of Brothers. Yeah.
Band of Brothers. Okay. I like him too. It's got a great cast.
What's the premise? What do you got for premise? What do you got there?
The guy from Band of Brothers is like a multi-billionaire who owns a company, but he's kind of crooked a little bit. Paul Giamatti, in the early seasons, he works for the government trying to take him down, trying to bust him for his illegal business practices and stuff like that. And it goes back and forth, and they're always one up each other. So it's a pretty good show, actually.
Do you guys subscribe to Showtime? Let me ask you real quick, Steve. You get Showtime? Yeah, I'm with BV.
I get Showtime as part of my package, and then I go to get rid of it, and it makes my price go up.
Okay. Weird. Yeah. Showtime's one of those channels that I just don't watch. I don't know how to. What shows are you watching besides this one randomly? What else you got?
Well, I didn't watch actually Billions. Michelle did. The big one we watched was Shameless. We watched a lot of Shameless on there. That was on there, and then it really. I did watch the first season of Penny Dreadful, which is coming up here in a minute. And then that's about it, really. Well, Black Sails, but I think that was on Stars.
That's Stars.
See, Stars. What?
Steve's screaming in the other room.
Homeland was on, I think, Showtime. That was a decent show. That had him in it again. That's the show before this. So, and Showtime has some stuff. It just people always forget about it. And like I said, I got this weird package I've had for 4 years. I've had Showtime for free. And I recommend, I was like, let me see if I'll save money. If I go get rid of it, my bill goes up. So I don't know. The other one, the big debut this week was Rick and Morty Season 4 on Cartoon Network. People tend to love that show. I don't get it. I've watched the first 3 seasons because everyone told me to. There's one episode where he became a pickle. I thought,
pickles, man.
That's a really good episode. Everything else is kind of So I'm not big on Rick and Morty. And then, like I said, the big one this week is Penny Dreadful, City of Angels. Now, Penny Dreadful was a goth late 1800s in England. So it was Josh Hartnett played a werewolf. There's another guy who played Frankenstein. But it sounds
Mary
cool.
Shelley's or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. And Eva Gardner, I think her name is, the English actress. You've seen her in 1,000 things. She was like a witch. Now, it sounds exciting. But it wasn't. It was 8 episodes. It was the slowest thing you've ever seen in your life.
BB's not into it.
Yeah.
BB's out.
The sequel shoots up to the 1940s, and it's in Los Angeles. I don't know. It's different characters this time. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan. I watched the first season, and I was like, God, that's so boring. So I'm not a huge fan of that. And Bill does not give 2 shits about Penny Dreadful.
I really don't.
So those were the big debut shows this week, and finale with Survivor. All right, Charles, tell us about getting punched in the face.
Yeah, so there was 2 UFC fight nights this week. One happened on Wednesday night, and one happened last night in BV with our logos for the day. The biggest thing that happened on that Wednesday night one, again, this one was on ESPN Plus. The one last night was on ESPN proper. So Glover Teixeira fought Anthony Smith. Steve, he beat the teeth out of his face, dude. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I don't know why they didn't stop it.
You saw teeth flying?
Dude, the teeth flew. He handed him to the ref, dude. It was crazy. It was just like, what? And he kept going. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So that was entertaining. Then last night, Alistair Overeem, he's the guy who got the chunk taken out of his lip, if you remember the last fight. Yeah. He actually KO'd round 2 Walt Harris last night. Walt Harris is the one who lost the stepdaughter, and that was the first time he fought since. Kind of one-sided. Didn't look like he looked out a little outmatched. Alistair Overeem actually was turning 40 and put it on him pretty good. So it was good. Again, so this brings to an end the UFC in Jacksonville stuff. So next...
So we're going to Fight Island?
Well, no. So apparently UFC 250 is slated to, I believe, taking Arizona, one of the two. Amanda Nunes is going to fight Felicia Spencer. That's the only thing they've got. I don't see any other fight nights or anything in there during that time. So basically, the UFC is going to regroup and then figure out another spot to kind of plunk down in June, it seems like. So, it's a great time to be a ESPN Plus subscriber, get a little action there. And then, like I said, the event last night was on ESPN proper. So it's good live sports, and it was really entertaining. There was a couple undercard fights last night, man. They got bloodied. Oh, my Lord. I don't know, again, if either you two watched it on ESPN.
I saw part of it.
Holy crap, dude.
The one where the dude had the one on his eye and on his forehead.
Ooh, and just bled like crazy. And then that hillbilly guy just kept beating the brakes off of him. Oh, my God. So, yeah, it was entertaining. So, UFC is still going strong. Dana White still looks really good during all this. So, what do you got, Steve?
I was going to tell you, I was talking to Bill earlier in the week. I think you're wrong on your Tyson thing. Well, he may have got offered, but he's come out in an interview. They put that training video up that he wants to do exhibition charity fights for 3 or 4 rounds.
Oh, what a bear knock.
And then they put a microphone in front of Evander Holyfield, who's 57.
Oh, Jesus.
He put out a workout video and said he's all for an exhibition fight, round 3 with Mike Tyson.
Jesus.
So you might see those 2 old men beating the hell out of each other here soon coming up.
Oh, man.
Only if it's free.
Only if it's free.
I won't pay for it.
Someone watched the last Rocky movie a little too closely, I think.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Put him in bare knuckle. Let's see if we can do that.
He didn't say anything about bare knuckle. He said
you bastard.
4-round exhibition fights for charity. I don't know how much is going to be charity is going to be interesting to see. So that's a little bit of fight news to go along with your UFC bleeding knucks and all that other good stuff. What is the update on the bare knucks? Are they coming back?
I haven't heard anything. They're dark right now. They're probably looking for like Biloxi, Mississippi to open back up or something like that.
Well, they're a league that can't handle a long layoff, right? They're probably going to go under.
I don't know. I don't know what. But if you got $20 million for Tyson, someone's got some bank somewhere. So I don't know. We'll see.
If they go under and sell their stuff, you got to buy like a turnbuckle from Bear Knucks.
Dude, what are you talking about? I do that in a heartbeat. What are you saying?
Yeah. So we're going to go over a little news this week. Now, Charles or Bill, did either one of you guys enjoy breaking news? Did either one of you guys enjoy Intellivision when you were kids?
We never had it at our house. BV, did you have it at all?
I didn't, but I had one of my cousins had it. I used to play I used to love playing like River Raid and the original Intellivision football. It was really cool.
Well, good news for you and for us, I guess. There's a new Intellivision coming this fall. And one of the co-founders of the Xbox that helped design and launch the Xbox 360, and I think the Xbox One is helping launch this new Intellivision.
Didn't they just try to get a new Atari release too? Like at some
new news
point.
about new systems all the time, and they all tank.
I mean,
is this going to be one of those like little like $30 things that has like mini versions of old games?
It's you missed it a little bit. It's going to be a crappy Android box that plays 2 random games that they release, and it's going to be $400 that no one's going to want to buy.
You'll see it in Best Buy in a corner somewhere. The pounded dust.
Hot garbage.
So Intellivision is coming this fall from the founder of Xbox. All right. Next, Elon Musk. You guys familiar with his work? His tunnels are done in LA. So
the boring tunnel got through it, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Now, if we had tunnels here in Michigan or in Illinois, would you guys be interested in driving a tunnel for 40 minutes every day to work? Would either one of you care?
I think that BV could answer this a little better because Chicago traffic is more akin to what they're trying to get around in LA and all that kind of stuff. What do you got, BV?
It would depend on where the tunnels were and how long they were. Like, I wouldn't want to be in a tunnel that's, longer than, say, a couple miles, because you get hit in traffic in that, you get stuck in a tunnel for a really, really long time.
Well, that's all, like, you won't hit traffic, though, right? Isn't that the whole... I don't know enough about this project.
But they still got to back up when you're coming out, right? Near the exit, there's going to be backup with people waiting to get out and go onto the road.
I don't know. I don't know how any of this goes, I'll be honest.
Tell me they won't have enough traffic that they'll ever get bumper to bumper in the tunnel?
I have no idea.
How claustrophobic?
Well, that's like remember the tunnel going back over, to and from Canada?
Yeah.
We used to come back from the bars in Canada and sit in that damn tunnel for 40 minutes waiting for traffic to clear.
Is it supposed to be for cars or is it supposed to be for like a train? What's it for?
Cars. There's, but only, I think, medium to smaller sized cars. There's no trucks are allowed, no delivery trucks or anything like that down there.
I don't know. Dude, I'll see it in a few years after they work the kinks out. Yeah, I don't know. What do they do for like the exhaust and like emergencies? And I got questions. I don't know any of that.
That's Bill's point, I think. I think I'll just take the extra 30 minutes to work.
I don't know.
Well, and what happens if there's an accident? Like, how are they going to get people into, or how are they going to get like
how long is the tunnel? I got to research this. I'm curious. Like, how long is it? Does it say?
Next week we want a full report.
I do. We got to figure out the tunnel in LA. That's crazy.
Charles gonna have charts. Look
at these assholes. They're gonna go 20 miles in the ground. Like, dude, you're crazy.
So there you go. So if you're in LA, and I think it's LA to San Francisco or something like that, or LA to San Diego, one of the two, you could take a tunnel now. So I don't know.
Well, LA to San Francisco is really, really far. I would hope it would be LA to San Diego.
Yeah, you're probably right. I should have read the article closer, but it doesn't open until January 21st.
Come to us for all of your breaking news here. In fact, guys, we don't know shit we're talking about.
Yeah. So next up, I put this on here because I know Heather's a big fan of the show Psyched, right?
Yeah.
So Psych 2, Lassie Come Home. This is a full feature-length movie, not about Lassie, but about the show Psych. It's only coming exclusively to the Peacock channel. So, Charles, you may have to sign up for a free trial of Peacock so Heather can watch her Psych movie.
That's what it sounds like. Give me like 3 free days and you can watch this crappy Psych show. That show sucked. Dule Hill was the funniest part. Heather was way into it. This show sucked.
I find most of those USA shows aren't all that hot, but a lot of people like them. All right, now next up, I might watch this just out of curiosity because I've heard about this forever now. So it's not live. It's going to be a movie. It's not going to be a movie. It's an actual. I don't know what the hell it is.
This is going to be the biggest piece of turd ever. It's probably a taped production. It's probably one of their productions.
Production of Hamilton, yes. Yeah. Coming July 3rd to Disney Plus. I have to see it just out of curiosity because how long have we been hearing about this thing? Forever. And it's the perfect price, free.
Yeah, I was going to say it's part of your package or whatever. But, like, I feel like he's one of those, this Lin-Manuel Miranda guy has been shoehorned into my life everywhere. And I'm just exhausted of him. Fuck this. I don't want to see this. I can't. I'm out of spite. It's like Stranger Things. I'm never going to watch Stranger Things. I'm never going to watch Hamilton just to piss people off.
You're not a little curious? I'm curious. Why I'm in love with
no. Because I hate those people. No.
Bill, what do you think? Would you watch it?
I'm pretty sure that I'm the only person in Chicagoland that hasn't seen it.
Well, there's a lot of people.
Because it was so freaking huge here, but I just couldn't justify going downtown and spending $150 a ticket to see any play.
That's my
Never
point.
mind. And I don't have Disney Plus, so I guess I won't see this either. But
I'm sure you could see plenty of people rapping.
I'm not going to go out of my way to do it either.
Rapping history has got to be all over YouTube. I'm sure you could just go and rap history. Yeah. Why do I need to see? No.
Curiosity's got me. I'm going to watch it. I'll come on this
Gotta be in the place
podcast.
where it happens, apparently.
I'll be on this podcast going, that was terrible. I want 2 hours of my life back. So we'll find out. This next one's a big one. Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich. This is a 4-part documentary on the Jeffrey Epstein life. And now a lot of people want to know if it's going to include all the celebrities that were tied to him, like the Clintons, even Trump at one point, and Tom Hanks. There was a bunch of people this guy was tied to. So they're curious if this documentary is going to cover that or just kind of gloss over that. So this is going to be a big one for them. Netflix loves their weird crime and serial killer stories, don't they?
People love them though. To their credit, they're just giving people what they want, I would say.
I'm interested in this. It'd be interesting to see what they cover and what they don't cover. You guys have any interest in this?
No.
Bill? I wonder if they're going to cover, like, if he really did kill himself or someone killed him or anything like that.
And I'm sure that I'm going to have someone in my life telling me about how good it is, and then I'm going to watch it and go, dude, I'm just not into this. I don't know. If it doesn't have a white trash rapper like Tiger King over top of everything, I'm not into it. I need a good white trash rapper around everything.
All right, so that's going to do it for the news. We got in television coming to Elon Musk's tunnels are almost done. You can watch Psych 2 on the Peacock. Hamilton's coming to Disney Plus, and Charles is dying to see it. And Jeffrey Epstein documentary coming to Netflix May 27th. So that's going to lead us into my last rant. So backstory on this. About a week or so ago, Daisy came in the house with a giant steak bone, and I had no idea where she got it from. I was like, give me that. And I took it and threw it out. Come to find out, it was one of our steak bones from steaks we made. So we opened the trash, and something has been tearing open our trash bags and throwing stuff out the trash, and that's why
you had Sly Cooper out there the whole time.
So for the last couple months, whenever you let Daisy out, she goes to the trash can first, and I always wondered why. And then now I realize today I have giant muddy raccoon paws all across the top of my trash. There they are. Too big for a squirrel and too big for a cat. So they're raccoon paws.
Wow.
So this raccoon is popping up and this is a big trash can, one of those city ones they give you. It's lifting the trash can, getting in there and chucking stuff out.
Wow.
And then getting out and grabbing the stuff and taking off.
How are you doing to fix it? What are we doing?
We're going to put bricks on top of there.
You can put bungee cords too. I would think bungee cords around the handle.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know you have a varmint problem yourself.
Dude.
I have raccoons coming into our garbage.
Yeah, that's
funny. My fun thing. And my dog is smart enough to know that it drops stuff by the trash, so my dog goes running around the trash looking for whatever the raccoon dropped.
And then BV, you said you had a raccoon problem at your house at one point?
Yeah, well, actually, because we had this big dying spruce tree right by the house that I had taken down last year, but this raccoon would climb up on top of it and would climb up the tree and get up on my roof. And then there was an area where because I have like the roof for the house that kind of connects to the roof where the garage is and all that, and there's a little area, and there was a little slit open in the side and the shingles, and the raccoon was able to push through. Turns out it was some one that was going there to have her babies or whatever.
That's brilliant.
And we, I knew something was going on because we could hear stuff, and so what's going on?
You're laying in bed.
Well, we could hear like what the hell's
scratching
going on
and shit. Yeah.
So one morning, I got kind of early work, and I got the dog outside, and I look up, and I'm coming back in. I look up, and this big fat raccoon is squeezing through my freaking shingles to get to the freaking house.
He's like, oh shit!
What the fuck is this? So I ended up having to call a service that came with and of course,
you gotta have humane traps and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that ultimate animal lover wanted to try to find a humane way to do it, but the way the thing was sloped, they couldn't put one that would just catch it. It had to be so like the guy comes out, and literally the next day I come home from work, and you see this dead raccoon, and all you see is the neck poking out from it. So it got the neck through the hole and then snapped done. But they got, the service, they disposed of the raccoon, and they went up, and apparently either she hadn't had the the children yet, or they were, because we did go up and make sure that there wasn't any other remnants up there of, and that because raccoons can be really destructive, that they didn't mess things up, and so I got lucky with that. But that was a good $500, which sucked. But
wow. Yeah, I've got 12 traps in my yard. Like I was telling you in the notes, I got 12 traps because we got the rodent issues because all those businesses are closed on Michigan Avenue. So I've started to stilt all of Heather's garden boxes, so they're getting put up on legs so that they can't make homes in any of the garden boxes. Steve, I've got literally 12 black boxes out in my backyard. Jesus. And unlike Abby, I'm not playing with these. I'm snapping necks. One trap had a leg of one of them in it, dude, and the thing must have had either rip its leg off or dude, I'm not messing. I got rat bait everywhere, dude. I'm killing
How many rats have you caught at this point?
2. And then we've gotten 4 chipmunks, 2 birds. It's carnage out there. I'm not with this stuff. I am destroying everything, dude. I'm baiting everything. I got a bucket of bait coming in. I'm not messing with this shit.
Die, gopher.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I don't care what you are. You try to come up into my property.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. It is on. And I'm an animal lover, not to the extent that BV's wife is and stuff like that, but dude, they carry diseases and stuff. You got to go, son. You got to get the hell out of my yard and away from my produce, man. I'm not playing with you.
I'm sorry, rats and raccoons are not freaking house pets.
Yeah,
I have certain levels of feeling about love of animals that once you start getting out of standard animals into rodents, I'm done.
Yeah,
they gotta go.
Well, the other thing you start doing. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Rocket Raccoon's helping my dog get steak bones. That's all I know.
I'm telling you. But when you have these kind of issues, you start looking at your neighbors' yards, and you're just put some of that shit away. You know what I mean? You got too much shit out. You're just asking for trouble. You know what I mean? Dude, it's crazy.
So that's our rodents. And Charles, you had a little experience with the Chromecast.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
So I'm trying to set up my little workout room downstairs. As we were talking about, all the gyms are closed, and I don't want to pay the exorbitant prices, as Gabe touched on the one episode he was on. But I'm slowly working my little home gym, and I want to put a TV down there. I tend to like to watch Sports Center while I work out. That's kind of my thing. You throw it on.
He works out.
Yeah, throw that on in the corner. So I hit Steve up, and I'm like, hey, you got an extra TV, you know what I mean? Here, you have white privilege. You probably have TVs just laying around your house.
Same thing as I did.
Yeah, he did. He's like, perfect, because, Holly's moving on to a laptop, and I got this old TV, and he's like, I got a Chromecast, too. I'm like, okay, cool, because I needed some way to view my television down there. Well, let me tell you. So Steve handed this off to me yesterday, and I started putzing with it kind of today before the show. This Chromecast thing is the most useless sack of turd. So okay, so an Apple TV is expensive. So I was like, okay, Steve's got a free Chromecast. I don't want to break Steve's balls, but free Chromecast is my perfect price. You know what I mean? Just throw it on this extra TV. An Apple TV, you can install apps on it. You can also mirror your phone, your iPad, your Apple device to it. A Chromecast is basically, minus the ability to install apps, you gotta mirror everything from your telephone. So in the morning time, I'd have to set my phone up to then send AT&T TV to my Chromecast. It's why it's all phone tethered. It's complete. You can't install apps on it. You can't do anything. It's a really weird device. I don't think I knew what the device was. Why did you have it?
Randy didn't want it. His son bought it for him, and he just gave it to me.
Yeah, because he's like, this thing's a turd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have one on one of my TVs here.
What do you do with it? Is that
I
mostly?
use my Google Home.
So
my Google Home, it's in my game room. So, and I stream from my computer. My computer's only 4 feet from my TV, so it's much better from the computer than the phone.
So basically, within Chrome, you mirror Chrome to your
yeah. There's a little. After you install Chrome, there's a little 3 buttons, and it has a little cast button. You just cast whatever you have on your browser. You can cast to the TV.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's the best way to use it, personally.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I hate using the phone.
Yeah, because and again, when I go to the gym, my phone gets put in a locker. I don't take my phone out with me onto the floor. I don't know how you guys work, BV. When you go to the gym, What do you typically do with your phone?
I don't keep my phone on me when I do much of anything outside of
Just chuck it in a
walking
drawer or whatever. Yeah. Apparently we're dinosaurs, and apparently like people.
Everyone lives their life on the phone. That's why the Chromecast is so popular.
Yeah, it was annoying to me. Yeah, I was like, because to me, why can't I just put the AT&T TV app on there and then just go over, pick it, and you know what I mean? Like, why do I need my phone?
You got to put the AT&T app on your phone and then cast from your phone.
Yes, and send it from. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is going on?
Now figure what if you had Stadia? Stadia, you have to. So how you do that? You got to cast from your phone the game to the TV. How does that work?
I don't know. This whole thing sent me down a rabbit hole. I was like, this thing is annoying. I was like, this thing. I mean, it'll work. It's perfect for like a random TV that I just throw on in the background while I'm, doing my little thing down there. You know what I mean? Like that's cool for me. And plus, it was free from Steve. But like, to me, you're better off getting like a Fire Stick for $50. Where you can put an app on it, you know what I mean? Like the Fire Stick, you can load an app. I don't understand. Like, why do I?
The same thing. Yeah.
What's that?
I like Roku sticks and Fire Sticks about the same thing.
Yeah. Well, you can put the application
and
onto
it. Comes with a little remote. Just hit the button.
Yeah. But apparently, like in this modern generation,
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We're
super
dinosaurs.
annoying. I don't know. I just was not a fan thus far, and it'll work perfectly for, like I said, a random TV. But if this is like your main TV, there's no way in hell. Get rid of this device immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. All right. So varmints and Chromecast and a happy anniversary to my wife. That's going to wrap us up for episode 97 of the Fat Guys on a Little Podcast. I want to thank Captain Background himself, BB, and his timely little raccoon. See, that's why nobody wants to kill a raccoon. Look how cute those little things are.
They got those funny fingers. Like they got really kooky fingers.
Yeah, and they sit there and eat like Baby Yoda. It's like, who wants to kill these things?
BB snapped the head off one.
Gotta go.
So, and of course, you can catch us on Google Play, Apple iTunes, and there is a app on the iPhone called the podcast app, ironically enough, and we are on there. A friend of mine couldn't find us on there. I told him to type in the full name, Fat Guys on a Little Podcast. We'll come right up. So that we're on that too. So we are on an app on the iPhone. Wow. So we're just about everywhere you can find us.
You know what we're not on an app on though? Is on the Chromecast, because there's no apps on the Chromecast. That's so stupid.
Well, there is a YouTube app, I guess. All right. So I'm Steve and
Charles.
We'll catch you next time.